You're going to say, that's basic, and it is. I think the hard thing about having a daily ritual is actually being able to stick to it. And it's important as you establish new habits and behaviors that you practice self-compassion. If you are trying to have change in your life and say it's eating better, some days you eat well, some days you don't. Any choice that you make that's a healthy choice is a benefit, and can improve your life. And so as you go about incorporating 5 things each day to improve your life and reach your potential, remember to give yourself time to change and evolve, and practice self-compassion, and be your own best cheerleader as you progress and as you change and you evolve, and you can. I'm a living testament of that, for my life, and I've seen it 1,000 times again in my patient's life. So just to get started, the first thing I will say is the importance of sleep. It's really important to be sleeping enough, to be sleeping deeply. We know for people who are stressed or have mental illness, one of what we call the early warning signs that people aren't traveling as well is that they're sleeping too much or they're not sleeping enough. So if your sleep is out of whack, it's something to pay attention to. Why am I not sleeping? And deal with the root issue. But then it's also important to know that, and I know, and the research shows that in order to get better, you need to be sleeping. And that's at least 7 or 8 hours a day, and it's deeply, and it's without being woken up in the middle of the night, maybe because you're breathless or whatever. And if you have any sort of medical conditions that are interfering with your ability to sleep, it's important to get your doctor to look at that. So the importance of sleep, I can't even begin to emphasize. The second thing that seems quite simple, and you hear everybody harp on about, is exercise. So we know in the literature now that 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week, I tell my patients at least 5 days, where you raise your heart rate. It can be anything that you like, even brisk walking. Emits a neurotransmitter in the brain. So we know that it can increase serotonin, which is one of the happiness chemicals. And it does it in a way that is a little bit like when people go on antidepressants. And the aim for those is to increase serotonin in their brain. So if you are exercising, you're doing that. You're emitting a happiness drug, and it's an important thing to be well, to stay well, to live your best life. So sleep was 1. 2 was exercise. Sleep, you need it to be, I need it to just to be happy, balanced, and normal. Exercise, you get that serotonin, and then there's a whole host of things we could talk about with exercise in terms of the impact on other health outcomes, and diabetes, heart health, anything, you name it, that's a thing. So and then obviously the third one is healthy eating, which I'm not going to get into, but again, when you eat well, when you fuel your body, we're like cars. We're going to run better on premium petrol than we are going to run on something that's not meant for us, like processed sugar, or cheaper fuels. The fourth thing that I think is quite key is establishing a daily ritual for you that helps you feel balanced and focused in the present moment. So for me, it's mindfulness journaling. And that's when I carve out some time to meditate. Usually I find 3 to 5 minutes is effective enough for me to be able to experience stillness and to stop. We live in a really fast world. I'm a multitasker. I'm doing a number of things at a time. So I need to deliberately set aside time to just sit in stillness, to slow my mind, and to just be. And when I am still and I experience peace. My whole body relaxes. I gain a better perspective about some of the things that I may be stressed about. And I also create space to listen to that inner voice, which is really important. And then usually I start journaling, and I write my thoughts. And that has been a really important thing for me to do each day to keep me balanced. There are a lot of different things that you can do to hone into kind of what your needs are in this moment. Even exercising. Some people find running, long distance running, does that for them. They can clear their head. I think you owe it to yourself to have something that you do each day that provides you with stillness and a moment to kind of check in. So that's number 4. For me, it's mindfulness journaling, which is a great thing to try. I think it could work for you, but there are other options out there. And then the last thing I think is incredibly important is living with gratitude. So for me, sometimes, I guess I'm at a point now where I live with a grateful heart. It's more of a constant thing, and that was one of the gifts from cancer, from surviving cancer, and waking up each day and saying, oh, I'm alive, I'm able to work, I'm well, I'm able to do the things I love. It's wonderful, and I, it's been 2.5 years since I was diagnosed with cancer. But part of the reason I live with a grateful heart is I've purposely cultivated it. And initially it was something I deliberately did. I would think of 3 things that I would be grateful for every day. When I was sick, sometimes it was hard because, everything hurt. I was vomiting from chemo. I was bald. And so there was little things like I was grateful that I tasted my food, or I was grateful that I had an hour that I was pain-free. But doing that cultivated a more positive outlook and a more hopeful outlook. And there's a power in hope. There's a body of research now that's out there, which I can talk about in other podcasts or video blogs, where I can talk about what we know from studies on hope and on gratitude. But it is something that is proven to be effective at improving people's lives and improving health outcomes. And I think it's another key part of living your full potential. So just to review, and hopefully I can remember all of them. Let's see, I started with sleep and talked about the importance of sleep as a daily ritual not to be missed. The second, I talked about exercise is vital. It increases serotonin. It improves a whole host of your health outcomes. It is wellness. The third is eating well, fueling your body appropriately. That's a daily struggle for me. I struggle with sugar. I could talk more on that later, but that's something that I focus on, and I combat through meal prep. I digress. The fourth thing is cultivating a daily ritual that helps you find stillness so that you can take a moment to tune into that inner voice. For me, it's mindfulness journaling. I recommend you try it. There are other things. I can talk about that another time. And then the fourth is having a grateful heart and cultivating gratitude and hope in your life.